Welcome to another Bob Folkrod's hunting adventure. I'm in Springfield, Missouri at Wonders of Wildlife. This week we're hunting the chamois. And then one thing about going through the Wonders of Wildlife, every place that you go you can touch a screen, touch the animal. You're going to learn about the animal, you're going to learn the history of it, where it lives, and some of the conservation efforts that we do to continue to support this animal, not only the sheep, but every single animal that we hunt. My hat's off to Johnny Morse. He's a modern day Teddy Roosevelt. Fantastic job putting the Wonders of Wildlife so people all over the world can enjoy this as much as I do. Thank you.
See some hinds.
Victor Chevrolet, Bass Pro Shops, and Alamocitos Ranch present Bob Folkrod's Hunting Adventures. Seven continents, 80 species, a 5-year quest in the making. High adventure, dangerous game. Real-world training tips. This is Bob Folkrod's Hunting Adventures.
It's a long way to the southern hemisphere and the snow-clad mountains of New Zealand. But hunters willing to make the trip will find adventure, excitement, and the kind of hunting opportunities once only found north of the equator. Bob Folkrod has accepted the challenge and finds himself on one of the most physically demanding hunts of his storied career.
The priority will be chamois, but if we get an opportunity to hunt for a free-range stag, we will make the most of that opportunity and see if we can get him down as well. We're going to be hunting in South Canterbury, New Zealand, on the east coast.
I've heard a lot about New Zealand, especially the chamois and the stag, and there's a lot of high fence operations over here where you can get some magnificent stags. That wasn't the case here. We wanted to hunt the chamois. We were hunting free range, and also wanted to hunt the red stag. The chamois, I'd never seen one before. I'd only seen pictures of one. They're a little critter with, little bitty horns. It seems like the smaller the horns, the bigger the mountains. It almost seems like that.
The chamois were brought over about the same time as the tahr. They were brought here for sporting purposes. They were brought here from Europe. The chamois is actually a mountain antelope. Chamois will weigh about probably 60 pounds. They're a very fine, petite little animal. They're extremely spooky. They have smallish horns. The horns pretty much go straight up and then they hook backwards. And you'd hope for something that would be a bit over the top, probably a good inch over the ears.
We were hunting the chamois and the stag basically in the same area. We was putting most of our time in to try to find the chamois. And you really had to slow yourself down. I'm used to looking for something like a tahr or a dull sheep or a mountain goat that, 250, 300 pounds. And here we're hunting an animal that's, gosh sakes, 50 to 80 pounds. Looking at something, 3, 4, 5, 600 yards out, they're just a little critter. And the grass is high, and boy, sometimes it's hard to see them.
This week's conservation angle has been brought to you by Wild Sheep Foundation.
Yep, there he is. He's out to the left of the pine tree. Heading uphill.
Where's he at? That rock knob there right in front of us. Come back from there.
We had to really spend a lot of time glassing and looking, and One thing that made it halfway reasonable is, you know, like a lot of sheep hunts, you may use a horse to get to the top, or in this case, we're using a truck. And they've got these roads cut all the way through New Zealand, and you can drive to the tops of the mountains. And once you get something located, you're kind of glad that, you know, you use the truck to at least get there, because then the stalk is on. And they're real steep, and it's, the grass is slippery. You can't really see where you're putting your feet lots of times, and so you really slow yourself down taking your steps. Also trying to play the wind, playing the sunlight, trying to get in close enough. You know, for sure you need a rangefinder on that, because it's hard to judge an animal that you're used to hunting at 250, 300 pounds, and now you're dropping down to 50 to 80 pounds. So you need a rangefinder for sure, especially when there's not many trees or not anything there to be able to guess the distance.
Bob Folkrod's Hunting Adventures is brought to you by these fine sponsors: Vortex, Kinatrek, Kufaru.
As people who love the outdoors, we know what we stand for. We stand for fish, wildlife, and conserving the places they call home. We stand for the traditions we inherited and that we must pass on. We stand for great gear, fair prices, expert service, and memorable experiences. At Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, we stand together for you.
For everything Chevy, you need to visit Victor Chevrolet, the place where my family and I get our vehicles. With a large selection, dedicated employees, quick service, and amazing savings, I became the biggest fan of Victor Chevrolet. If you're looking for a reliable vehicle and service, look no further than my friends at Victor Chevrolet. 7200 Pittsford Victor Road, or victorchevrolet.com. Just check and see if there's room for the cup.
Bob Folkrod has traveled all the way to New Zealand to hunt the high mountains of this famously beautiful country. The chamois is a native of the European Alps, and they are very much at home in the steep terrain of the Kiwi outback. With no fences or helicopters involved, this is extreme mountain hunting at its best.
The chamois live in quite rugged places. Any bluffs, rocks, waterfalls with big brushy faces is a good place to start looking for a chamois. And we'll hunt them much the same way we hunt a tahr. We'll sit on top of the mountain and you have to glass a lot longer than what you do for a tahr to start spotting the chamois. They are quite small, so they're quite hard to spot at times. And once we do find one, then we will take and make a very careful plan as to how we're going to get in range and try and kill one. Try and be out of sight, make sure the wind's good, and yeah, make the most of any opportunities. I see some hinds just down there.
Oh yeah.
We'll get my scope and we'll take a better look at him.
You may want to get up right up that gully right there. You see the ridge comes down?
Yep.
There's one right there. The first time we laid eyes on one was right up on top, and he's right down, I mean almost straight down. And we looked at the situation, and Simon says, you know, I think we can go around and get off onto the side of him. And that's what we did. We kind of peeled off to the left and dropped down and came in off to the side of him where he was laying. When we got to the big rock cliff where we figured he'd be 250, 300 yards away, he had got up and moved. The rut was just finishing off, so, you know, we knew he was there someplace, but we didn't know where. So now it's like, okay, let's glass and see if we can find him.
Oh no, chamois, go back, go back. Chamois, yeah.
When we finally spotted him, he was going away from us. Again, luckily to have the rangefinder because it's stretching it a little bit, you know, especially on a small size animal like that. Oh, I don't know, he's looking at him. Bob. Which one? The back one? That's a long way, it's 420 yards. The back one. He stopped and he turned and gave me a pretty good shot. Wasn't much wind. I had a real good rest, and when I touched it off, he was on a quarter of the way shot, and I hit him in that back leg. Now I got an animal wounded. Now I got to finish him off.
Top one.
The one running uphill, right?
Yeah, you've hit him in the back leg. The one at the back.
Yeah.
Got him. We got him.
Got him.
Yes. Not going anywhere.
Right.
That was some pretty awesome shooting. That's a long way, but it's a big chamois too.
Oh man, I'm telling you. Oh.
Every sportsman will occasionally miss his target, but keeping it together for the second shot is the mark of a true hunter.
My goodness sakes, when we walked up to him, you know, looked at the horns, you know, I guess they were like 8.5, 9 inches long. We certainly do work hard for a little set of horns, and look at that, isn't that something? That's as pretty a chamois as I've ever seen in my life, because he belongs to me. Look at them hooks on him. I'll be darned. When people say, why do you want to hunt a critter like that, you know, it's the adventure. It's going to New Zealand, seeing the beauty of the country, and hunting with Simon, and just hunting a different species of animal. I mean, it's all about the adventure. I certainly wasn't disappointed on this trip.
Bob Folkrod's New Zealand adventure continues with the hunt for one of the most regal and challenging animals in the world, the European red stag.
Transportation for all of Bob Folkrod's hunting adventures is provided by Victor Chevrolet. Check them out at victorchevrolet.com. Few are those that have a more storied hunting career on video than Bob Folkrod. Legendary moments, documented in front of the unblinking camera eye for over 30 years. We bring you this week's Flashback Hunt.
We're out here in the middle of the night on drainage canals. Yep, that's a nice little gator. So Bob's going to try to catch him, and we're just going to take a look at him and put him right back in the... You're definitely not happy. That's a baby, Bob. This is Don Hampton, our guide, and Stevie's assistant. What's your last name, Steve? Smith. Steve Smith, and they're both policemen from down here in Florida. You guys do like to live dangerous, don't you? Need to pull up on the line a little bit. There you go. That's all I... Oh, he's a hell of a gator, Bob. Wow! He ain't happy, Bob. Yeah, wait clear down through his neck. That's a big boy. Okay, here we go. We're going to finish him off. That's the end of that. Boy, that's a... I'm going to come down on that. I'm going to take everything both of you got, get him in.
Just so you know, that's the same arrow I was using at the BFHA in Wisconsin up at the Nationals when I went up there and shot. So that's brought me 18 carp and probably about that many alligators.
How many gar?
Probably 18 gar.
Never did a thing.
No.
That's what everybody says. You know, that cable will give up the ghost.
And it brought me
Well, that is one hell of a trophy, Bob.
a 10-foot gator.
Man,
Isn't that beautiful?
you bet.
Bob Fulkrod has traveled all the way to New Zealand on a big game safari. These mountains provide some of the most difficult free-range hunting in the world. But the challenges of a hunt like this start before you even leave for the airport. Here's Bob with a few tips on how to pack for a trip where anything can happen.
Well, if you're as concerned as I am of traveling, especially on airlines today, and they allow you 50 pounds, you say, how do I pack for that? Especially in the fall when you don't know whether it's going to be raining or is it going to be snowing, sleet, and hail. And it's all about layering up and layering down. I'm going to start out with something like an Enduro skin. Basically, it's a thin material, and if it's going to get a little colder, I'm going to put something like the XPS Polar Tech on. And guess what? This is something I never leave without. This is always in my pack. It's Pack Light Gore-Tex rain suit. And if it's really, really cold out and the weather's really miserable, I'm going to go to my extreme element gear. You've watched me wear that into Russia to almost all kinds of different hunts. If I'm on the back of a horse, I'll roll it up, put it on the back of the horse. But these two jackets right here, I never leave home without. And by layering up and layering down, I can stay within that 50 pounds.
Today's gearbox includes Redhead Extreme Elements Park and Pants, Browning A-Bolt 300 Win Mag, Winchester Nosler Ballistic Tip Ammo, Sims True Glow Limb Saver Recoil Pad, and XPS Power Dry Thermals.
We knew the red stag was going to be extremely difficult because of the natives. They hunt them for meat also, just be like going back in Pennsylvania and hunting whitetail. We knew that was going to be difficult. That'd be kind of icing on the cake if we happened to really see a nice stag that was forced to take.
They're extremely popular to hunt, and the way we're going to do it is not the common way. We're going to do it totally free range. So the size of our trophy that we hope to take will not be as big as an estate trophy, but still means a lot to the hunter and myself.
Gosh sakes, we were pulling up to the valley and I was just making fun of you know, trying to keep everybody in a good mood, and I looked at this valley and I said to Simon, I says, I think I'll name this valley Death Valley. And we hadn't went 200 yards, and I mean, and all of a sudden old Simon's eyes just lit up. He says, there's a stag right there, and he threw the glasses on and he said, look, we got to go. Death Valley. Just mentioned that a little while ago. We found a free-ranging stag, and we're just going to go up and see if we can get closer to him. Down there, straight up, it was 730 yards. So if we can get up in there, we're looking at 300 yards across from him, if he stays where he is. And it was a pretty good climb. We had the wind in our favor, we had the sun in our favor. The only thing that wasn't in our favor, there was probably, I had no idea, but I'm guessing 15 or 20 eyes when we broke over that top that could be looking at us. There's another group right there.
All hinds though.
All hinds? No bucks in that group. That's short for hindies.
They're slowly feeding up here towards them rocks. Yeah. We just get to them bigger rounded bushes and set up and just wait. Okay.
We peered over the top, we range find it, we decided to go up the hill a little bit further, and that would give us a straight across shot somewhere around 300 yards.
Let me get in front of you. Which one is he? He's at the top, Bob. Broadside facing to the left. At the top, Bob. Right in the middle. Right in the middle. I don't see him yet. Broadside to you. You see him? Not yet. Oh yeah, I got him.
When I first got up there, you know, of course, you're climbing, your heart's a pounding, you're breathing heavy, and you don't know for sure whether they're going to see you or not. And I got the pack up on there, and I put the shooting sticks down, and I'm taking some deep breaths. Simon's got the glasses on him. He says, they don't know we're here. At that point, all you got to do is get your heart rate down, catch your breath, and make sure you can squeeze that trigger and make a good shot.
When we return, Bob's stamina and marksmanship are again tested on this high-altitude, free-range hunt in the wilds of New Zealand.
This segment has been brought to you by the Victor Chevrolet Deal of the Week. Check them out at victorchevrolet.com. Chevrolet.com. Find new roads.
Victor Chevrolet, same place I get my trucks from, and you should too.
Together is about a little kitchen table and a little elbow grease. Together is about a shelf in the back of Dad's shop. Together is about family. And it's about all the memories that lie ahead. Start your adventure with the experience, selection, and wonder you can only find at Bass Pro Shops in Cabela's. Your adventure starts here.
Try to find a free-ranging stag in New Zealand is it's a difficult job. I knew that going into it, but you know, the worst thing that could happen is we just got to spend more time glassing and looking at the snow-capped mountains and looking in these valleys and looking down into where we think they're going to hide. And like I say, it was a long shot, but you know, it was paying off.
300 yards. Just relax. Where's he at from that spike? The spike that's looking at him. I see him. And just wait, don't shoot.
I'm sitting there and I'm really gasping for air. And each time I gasp a little bit, I get a little bit calmer and a little bit calmer. And I guess 2 or 3 minutes went by. Finally, I says, okay, I'm ready to do the shot.
Good shot, good shot.
Good shot. Just wait. He'll go down. He'll go down. Yeah. He'll go down.
That's a hole on the other side of him.
Yeah.
He's coming down. He's coming down.
Good shot.
Yes.
There he is.
Yes.
Whoa, whoa,
No.
buddy. Whoa, don't break them horns up.
Oh. We've got him.
Well done.
Stop.
Stop, stop, stop.
Put them sticks up on there, you know, put that rifle up on top of them sticks. And took a great big old deep breath, touched her off, and then he just lunged. And he went and he started to run up the hill a little bit, and he got into some rocks, and he just went right over backwards. And I go, oh man, he's gonna break his rack. He hit hard, and then he started to tumble. And he tumbled and tumbled, and he's coming down, and that probably shows you the steepness, but he probably rolled something like 200 yards.
Oh. Woo. I'll tell you what, here we are hunting chamois, and we run into a stag. Isn't that something?
That's awesome.
Especially a free-ranging one like that. I mean, that's a lot more I ever expected in a free-ranging stag, man. That's
awesome.
That's awesome stag, man.
We got him. That was a good shot. We looked at a lot of deer and a lot of country.
We have looked at a lot of country. A lot of beautiful country, snow-capped mountains. Oh, that's wild. That's wild right there.
And steep.
Steep, yeah. You know, we came over here for free-ranging chamois, something you just don't get all the time. A lot of people take the choppers, and you know, I personally don't have anything wrong with that, but it's one thing to say you climb these mountains on foot and up and down from the top to the bottom to the top, and then run into a beautiful stag like that. That just that's some adventure, man. I'm telling you, I'm a happy camper, man.
We did it. It's a tough deal to get a free range stag like that,
and especially one that size.
Yeah, he's sweet, and he's got them true characteristic of the Rakai herd, missing them second time, so that's awesome.
When we got over to him, which was quite a hike because we had to cut down in this valley and come back up the other side, for sure he broke a couple points. The good news is, after we took our pictures and everything, we looked around and we found that point.
I'll tell you what, for a free-ranging stag in New Zealand, this little Pennsylvania boy couldn't be much happier. I'll tell you what, that is good, man. What a hunt, what an adventure.
Not a problem, it was good.
Boy, everybody was just high-fiving and excited because we knew it was a long shot trying to find that free-ranging stag, and we got him, and it's going to make a great addition with that red stag from New Zealand.
For help with all of your hunt booking needs, contact J&M Safaris at jnmsafaris.com. After your successful hunt of a lifetime, contact Wes Good at CanadiStudio.com for the finest taxidermy in the business. Be sure to follow Bob and all his adventures at bobfolkrod.com/TV and facebook.com/bfolkrod. And don't forget to hit the like button.